This video is not about social media with AI avatars. It's not about lip fillers or Botox or elective surgeries. It's not even about influencers who rent cars to take pictures next to them and take pictures next to pools that aren't theirs so that they can say they're in the Bahamas. This video is about your words. How your words contribute to the fake world that we all know and feel is killing us. So subscribe for more wacky content. Oh gosh, Michaela. Social media, Botox, and rented Bugattis are worth talking about. They're part of this modern life for some weird reason. So that's an issue we should discuss, but not today. Today I want to talk about something that I've been noticing. Now, don't worry, I'm hip, I'm cool, I know about Riz, I know about Cap, so on, yes, etc., etc. Every generation, region, and subculture have their slang. I'm not entirely opposed to slang, even. In fact, I really wish that 17th century Cockney or 1970s jive would come back.
Just hang loose, blood. She gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama raised no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack.
The issue I'm discussing is the overuse of hyperbole. Hyperbole is just exaggerated statements to emphasize a point you're making. They're not to be taken literally. It can be fun to say outlandish, ridiculous things, of course. The problem today is that it's extremely overused. It's largely used for clickbait content. Things like, this asparagus recipe changed my life. We click on these things knowing that it's probably not going to change our lives, but you know, it might be cool. So this isn't new, but it seems to be much more prevalent. So why don't we say what we mean, and why don't we mean what we say? I understand using exaggerated language to uplift mundane tasks and romanticize your life a bit. But I think we should dig up the root of that. Rather than just sprinkling interesting words and phrases into their daily lives, the people using this romanticizing language, it seems they are more likely using it for escapism. To avoid the despair and drudgery of life, people are using exciting language that they really don't mean. I think it's in hopes of making it seem better, but I'm not convinced that is really working. I initially really liked this idea. I thought modernity was rather ugly and cold, and so the idea of escaping especially into nostalgic things like, I don't know, Little Women or Anne of Green Gables, it was very appealing to me. So I watched some channels that did just that. They changed their own personal aesthetic for their wardrobe, their makeup, their house even, seeming like they're truly committed to changing their lives. At first it felt wonderful seeing people embrace an old world that I wish we could be in. To me it's like exchanging real things that you can touch, taste, and smell for the awful synthetic, digital, and artificial things we have today. But I quickly realized that most of these channels, while perhaps well-intended, were engaging in superficial and vain forms of escapism. They were putting on these aesthetic worlds and languages as jackets that they would take off whenever they were bored. I can't say, but to me, I would imagine they would feel very hollow at the end of the day, realizing that nothing they did was real, and they go back into modernity until the next clip. So now no one can trust what anyone says, not that we ever really could. Do they live this way only when the cameras are on? Do they say these things only because I'm here? Is this cleaning hack really going to split time as Christ did with human history? I believe that if you're not deliberate with your language, you lose it. As in, words begin to lose meaning with each generation as they are misused. It's not to say that language can't change. I recall a particularly funny moment at a family event. I'm a rather affectionate person, and I was going around kissing everybody hello. And my great-grandfather chuckled at me and said, "You just make love to everybody, don't you?" And he said that just as I was kissing my uncle. And we looked at each other and just patted each other on the back. But it had been some time since it meant that. So how do we converse? Must we be aware of what every generation or every region and every subculture thinks about any given word? It's gotten so bad today that there are words now that were rather simple that are being extremely misused. Consider the gender and sexuality debate. The language around that seems to evolve every minute, rather than how it used to be with Decades of time choosing the new definitions, not always new even, just an addition of definitions. It renders the words meaningless when we change them so flippantly. And I believe that this contributes to our malaise and pain that we are all currently feeling. At least most of us. If no one can be trusted, then nothing people say has any meaning. So if nothing people say has any meaning, what matters? If nothing matters, why bother? So how do we get meaning back? Is this a genie out of the bottle situation? Or is Pandora's box able to be shut in our story? No, don't leave. Stay. I won't use any more literary devices. The solutions start with acknowledging that dressing things up in prettier words doesn't actually change their character and makeup. Does calling taking out the trash soiled item removal task make it any better? Do these changes make it any more mystical or fun to do this gross task? No, it's still gross. It's still something we have to do, and we should be grateful that we have a disposal service to help us with it. So the first thing was acknowledging that you can't make things better simply by putting it in prettier words. The second is you have to figure out who you are. Now I know this sounds way too philosophical for just talking about exaggerated speech, but bear with me. This whole exercise is about being truthful, authentic, and honest. How can you know what is the truth, what is authentic, or what you even think about something if you don't know who you are or what you believe? Pursuit of the truth is one of the best things we humans can do, and it's the way to really change your life and add meaning to it. The next thing is you have to embrace the silence. So many people hate silence. They try to fill it. They fill it in fear of awkwardness or feeling foolish. But I urge you, try to just say what you mean and leave it at that. Adding fluff just makes you look superficial, whereas being deliberate makes you seem sincere and intelligent. It also means being willing to say things like, "Oh, I haven't thought of that. Let me think for a second." Or "That's a good question. Hang on, I'll consider that." These things have a lot of benefit. For one, it can make the person asking you the question feel really important for asking an intellectual or unique question someone hadn't thought of. Another is that they will respect you for being thoughtful and intentional with your responses. It also reinforces that you're actively listening to them rather than just trying to come up with a clever response in your head ahead of time. Don't walk away from this thinking that I think sass and exaggeration are evil and dishonest and should never be used. Being facetious and playful is fun, but it's important to use these things with intention rather than making them some sort of standard practice. At first, it will be difficult. You'll catch yourself saying all kinds of phrases and words that are prevalent in our culture that you don't really mean. It's really everywhere. But once you start saying what you mean, you'll have better conversations, you'll have more respect, less anxiety around a conversation, and people will really want to hear what you have to say. But hey, I told you, I'm an overthinker, so I'm probably just overthinking it.
No, hold on. I do have a passing acquaintance with the language of the street, and I do believe this chap is in need of some assistance. Go ahead, young fellow.
I need the peelers, mister. I've been kidnapped. They've taken me spangle.
He would like us to make contact with a police officer as someone has pickpocketed his money.
Oh, good grief.